Hello, and welcome to Beyond Biglaw, Money Management for Lawyers, where lawyer turned accredited financial counselor, Jessica Medina, provides expert tips to help attorneys better manage their money so they can pursue their dream lives.
Hello and welcome. I'm with Jessica Medina, a former lawyer turned accredited financial counselor. We are continuing our conversation about personal finances as it relates to lawyers looking to transition out of big law. Nice to see you again, Jessica.
Hello, Nancy.
Hello. Help us better understand the unique perspective you bring to both sides of this area.
So first off, I am a former practicing attorney. I actually still have my license. So I am a licensed attorney. I'm just not your attorney. That's what I tell everyone now. I practiced in the DC metro area for nearly 15 years. I worked at a large firm doing securities and litigation work. And then I went to the federal government and I was working at the United States Securities and Exchange Commission in the Division of Enforcement. So I have a very good sense of what it feels like to actively practice law. I know what it feels like to pull all-nighters when you're trying to draft a summary judgment motion. I know what it feels like to have your kids in the room next door because you're getting exhibits together. And so I think that's a really important perspective that I bring for my attorney clients. They want someone who understands the ins and outs of their life and why they may not have their money stuff completely together. They also never have to explain to me why they can't pick up a second job evenings because they're already working, right? So that's, I think, a level of understanding that is really a huge benefit to my clients and me being able to understand their lived experience. Secondly, as an accredited financial counselor, I sit in a very special place of the financial professionals network. There are all different types of financial professionals out there, and accredited financial counselors help people with basic money management skills, maybe the stuff that you wish you had learned growing up or the things that you wish that they taught in school. So I focus on cash flow management. I focus on debt repayment. I focus on helping you find the money to save for those long-term goals. What I don't do is all the stuff that I used to regulate at the SEC. I don't help people with investment advice. I don't offer advice on insurance products. I don't sell any securities products. And so for my clients, they really love being able to get completely unbiased financial advice from someone who really understands their world. And for me, as an accredited financial counselor, it's great never, ever having to run into my old friends at the SEC.
Absolutely. You know, attorneys can face a lot of financial pressures right out of the gate, right when they graduate law school with student loan debt. What was your personal experience with that?
Oh gosh, I am hugely passionate about helping people think through their student loan debt and potential repayment strategies because it was the biggest stressor that I had leaving law school. I took out all the monies, both for undergrad and my law school education, and I graduated with over $200,000 in student loan debt with no real plan to pay it off. And so my strategy when I graduated was to just pick the longest repayment plan available, which was the 30-year extended graduated. And I realized I had a mortgage-sized debt with a mortgage-sized repayment term and no house to speak of. But that was my lot. That's the only thing that I thought would make sense. And so when I am working with my own clients now, I have folks who have paid off their student loans. They're rare. Most of the folks who come to me probably are still carrying some student loan debt. I have one client that is balancing over $450,000 of student loan debt. She has a couple of degrees, and she paid through the nose for each of them. And so, it really does run a range, but it can be such a huge stressor because especially if these are federal student loans, they're never going away. Right? This is one of the debts that, if you're not paying, they can garnish your wages. The only time they go away is if you die. And so a lot of my clients took the position, well, I'll just pay these until I die. And then hopefully, they'll be gone by then. And so I think it's really important that we do not let student loan debt command how you spend your life, what career you choose to pursue, and what other things, you might want to pursue in your own life. I have many clients who have foregone buying homes, starting families, getting married because they're terrified of their student loan debt infecting all of those other things. And I'm here to help them think through a repayment strategy that allows them to do all of that and eventually get rid of their student loans.
That's a lot. That's big. You also shared that you stayed stuck in Biglaw for a long time and that it wasn't just about the money. What was it about?
So I find, my personal experience in terms of, the 8 years that I spent at my firm, I had originally just planned on being there for maybe 2 or 3, right? Get a couple of years of experience under my belt, maybe make some money, and then get back over to the public sector. That was not my experience. Once I got into the Biglaw world, there were some things that I just wasn't prepared for. One of the largest factors was the prestige factor. I am a recovering prestige addict. That's how I like to describe myself. There were so many times over the course of my life where, school, academic achievements, right? Getting into a great law school, graduating from Columbia and, going to work at a prestigious DC law firm. All of those things really fed my ego. I loved introducing myself as an attorney. I loved telling people where I worked. I loved the look on my parents' faces when they introduced me as their daughter, the lawyer. There's something about that that is practically intoxicating. And I think for a lot of attorneys, it can be very difficult to think about leaving that world and leaving that prestige behind. What I have found is I have created a completely new definition of prestige for me. Now I define prestige as having the freedom to work wherever I want, having the freedom to pursue the type of work that I want, and basically being able to wake up happy on a daily basis. That's very prestigious to me now. But it's a very different definition from what I'm used to working with and what many of my clients continue to struggle with when they're making decisions about potentially leaving their firm or even leaving the law. And along those lines, I do want to also mention something. I am, a Latina. I was a single mom, and there were many aspects of my career journey that felt like trailblazing. And I felt a level of responsibility to those coming after me that if I can make partner in my firm, maybe that means that anybody can make partner in my firm, right? If a single Latina mom can be a homegrown partner at a major DC law firm, then maybe I have to do this, right? Isn't it my duty? Isn't it my obligation to others coming after me to blaze this trail and to make it work? I was a pretty good candidate to make partner. I had a lot of support in the firm. I was obviously infamous given the fact that I came with twins, and it was a path that I could have pursued, but I realized that wasn't the path for me to blaze. I needed to go blaze a new path somewhere else that was more in line with my values and what I wanted for my life. But I do want to acknowledge and recognize that this type of pressure people can put them on themselves and they can feel it from their communities. And so that's also another reason that people can sometimes get stuck in that big law world. And the last reason I think that is really important is all of my friends were lawyers. I knew no one outside of the legal field, right? All my friends came from law school or my law firm. I didn't have time for another community. So I was basically just guzzling Kool-Aid all day long about what, life looks like, what success looks like. The only version of success that I saw were partners. And so that was supposed to be the path, right? When your world is very small and your bubble, only includes the same type of people doing the same types of things, you get very narrow-minded in what you see as possible. And it wasn't until I started meeting with folks who had left my firm and gone on to other legal jobs or had left the practice altogether that it really just expanded the horizon of what I thought success could look like. And so I always advise attorneys, make sure you're getting out of your attorney bubble. We love to hang out with each other because we're all stressed out and we understand each other's language. But if everyone you know is a lawyer, we all also have the same blind spots and we have the same biases. And if you talk to other people, you might get a sense of what their happiness looks like. And that might be more in line with what you want for yourself.
At some point, you realized all your friends in law and big law struggled with the same issues.
I did. And, when I think back on it now, we all struggled with, time management issues. We all struggled with just the general stress of working at a firm and being on call all the time. But I also remember there were many instances where I would have conversations with friends at my firm about whether they should take a government job or whether they should, go work at a nonprofit or whether they should go in-house. And the terror that I remember seeing in their eyes of the potential pay cut that they would have to, stomach, and they would have to, adjust their life in order to take on this new career, that stuck with me. And it's why I think this work is so important, to make sure that all of those amazing lawyer brains out there are being put to their best use. Not everybody is supposed to be at a firm. Some people are, and I support that. And I am so supportive of people who enjoy that experience, who want to become a partner in a large law firm. You're going to do amazing work. You're going to get to work on the most complicated issues. You're going to be continuously intellectually challenged, and you're going to be building something, right? They are business owners, and that's laudable. It's just not for everyone. And so if there's other work that you would like to be putting your brain to, I want to help you find that path so you can do that work without terror.
And that's where cash flow management comes in.
Oh, absolutely. Cash flow management is one of my favorite things to talk about. We touched on so many of my favorite topics today: student loan debt, cash flow management. For anybody who's unfamiliar with the term, cash flow management is really just managing the money coming in and the money going out in your world. So we're not talking about the growth of your investments. We're not even necessarily talking about, your specific student loan debt repayment strategy. We're really talking about what happens to the money that hits your checking account before another round of money hits your checking account, right? We want to get a handle on where that money is going and how it's being deployed, to make sure that, number one, it's actually going toward things that are important to you, and number two, that you are not only paying for today's lifestyle, you're also preparing for things in the future. So I spend a lot of time with my clients on figuring out what is a good strategy for their own cash flow management. And although I work with a lot of lawyers that, work at law firms, they're W-2 employees, they get paid, every other week or twice a month. For many of my clients, they might be partners in a law firm. And they may have much more variable income in terms of distributions. They might have a monthly salary, but then they get quarterly distributions. They may get a huge bulk distribution at the end of the year. And figuring out how to massage the bumps and dips in income and spending over the course of the year is the essence of cash flow management. We want to make sure that you have the money where you need it, when you need it, and that might take a little bit of massaging from what you're used to.
What is the most effective way to organize money?
So it really does depend on, how the income comes into your home and what your spending patterns are like. But I have some basic foundational principles that I teach my clients when I am setting up their personalized cash management system. Oh, yes. All of my clients get a personalized cash management system that specifically deals with their income, with their spending patterns, and we set everything up so that is hyper personalized just for their life. It's one of my favorite things that I get to do. It's literally a puzzle that I get to put together for my clients. And when it's personalized like that, they have so much confidence that it's going to work because we've built it together, and it really is a true reflection of their life and their values. But some basic tips, in building your own system: you want to limit the information you have to pay attention to, right? We are all, lawyers or not, we are all inundated with too much information all the time. We have access to too much information, and we think we have to see all of it in order to make good decisions. And that's not true. You need to look at the right pieces of information in order to make good decisions. So part of what I like to do when I'm organizing my clients' money is remove from their sight or their attention decisions that they've already made. So if you've decided that you are very happy with your daycare provider, you do not have to pay attention to that monthly bill. That monthly bill is locked in stone. You've decided it's part of your life and you acknowledge that you want to keep it. We shouldn't have to look at that bill every single month when we're trying to figure out, are we on track or are we not on track? So I really apply a lot of separation principles when I'm organizing my clients' money to remove the things that are set in stone, the decisions they've already made, from that more variable spending that is often where we all get in trouble, right? We all have hot zones, and I'm telling telling you, they're not daycare, right? The hot zones are the ones where we can be making choices on a day-to-day or month-to-month basis, and that's where you want to be focusing your attention. So whatever system you use, right? Every system for managing money will work if you work the system. Some of them are just more painful than others. I pride myself on not requiring my clients to fill out spreadsheets every day or track every dollar that they're spending, because I don't think they need to. They need to track the things that are important. And so separating those out from everything else makes that tracking so much easier, and it's such a quicker check-in with yourself to make sure that you're still on plan.
What are top 3 things you can think of that you want lawyers to know about managing their finances?
My number one mantra that I live by and I teach my clients is you can spend your money on anything, but you can't spend it on everything. Right? If you have unlimited resources, you don't need to meet with someone like me, right? Congratulations. I don't even know why you're listening to this podcast. However,
Exactly.
if you're like the rest of the human population and money is, somewhat of a limited resource for you, this principle applies to any limited resource, right? Money, time, energy. And I'm not here to tell you how to spend your money. That's why I always make it clear. We start with, you can spend your money on anything. Do you love your house cleaner? Great. Spend your money on a house cleaner. That just may mean that you have less money for other things in your life. That principle also applies in terms of the timing and the phasing of different financial goals. I find for a lot of my clients, they beat themselves up because they're not doing 100% of the things 100% of the time. They're not maxing out their 401k and contributing the maximum to their child's 529 account and paying down their debt, to get it all squared away before the 0% balance transfer expires. You may not have the resources to do everything all the time, but if we time things appropriately, we can get everything done in due time. And that is really where the allocation and the prioritization comes in, and why it's important to remember that you can spend your money on anything, but you can't spend it on everything.
It's okay to get help and ask for guidance. I think that is something that's come across in all of these podcasts, that reaching out is the first step.
Absolutely. I think, a lot of attorneys know that they are struggling with money. And it might not be a struggle in that, oh, I'm overdrafting on my checking account every month, or I can't pay my credit card bill. That generally isn't what my clients experience. What my clients experience is, oh, I can pay the credit card bill in full. I just don't know if that's the right amount that I should be paying. I don't know if the bill should be that high. I think that might be preventing me from pursuing other financial goals, right? And so, if you are not sure about how you're doing financially, or you feel like you should be in a different position, that's a great time to ask for guidance. Also, transitions are a huge stressor for pretty much all humans, but I found them to be particularly stressful at many points in my own life. And so I find it, quite fitting that I now basically spend my entire day helping other people with their transitions. It's cathartic for me. It's really great for them. Everybody wins in this situation. And so if you're coming up on a transition, please don't beat yourself up for not knowing exactly how to approach it. There are some strategies out there that you might not be familiar with, especially if you didn't grow up in a home that, was obsessed with money and talked about it all the time. So it's okay to educate yourself. It's okay to not know things. It's okay to ask questions. And if you'd like some more personalized help, it's certainly okay to go seek that guidance.
It really feels like your approach is very holistic on many levels. And given that you have the ability through technology, like your clientele is all over the country.
I do. This is one of the things that differentiates me from investment advisors. Oftentimes, unless they're with a national firm, they're limited in what states they can operate in. As an accredited financial counselor, I can work with anyone. I even have some clients, in Canada. They don't really have the same student loan issues that my United States clients have, but they still have money issues. So we think through those. But one of the things that I love about my practice is the lawyer experience is very similar all over the US, honestly, all over the world. Even different legal systems, the lawyer experience is very similar. We're just really hard on ourselves. We're hypercritical. I can't imagine where that comes from, given the people we hang out with all day. And so I love the fact that I get to work with clients all over the United States. And, we think through what some of those regional factors may be, right? Especially when I have clients who are looking for a new home or are looking for a new career. It's important to know what the cost of living is going to be in whatever next job, you're going to be pursuing. It's important to know what the real estate market looks like. And if you're looking for a house in New York or in San Francisco, that's going to feel very different than if you're looking for one in St. Louis or Austin. And so I take all of that into account in, as you mentioned, a very holistic approach that looks not only at the comprehensive financial picture, but also a holistic approach to the client and to their personality, what's important to them, and what they really want to get out of their life. I think that is often what's missing from some of the more basic and cookie cutter personal finance guidance that's out there. And that's one of the benefits of working with an accredited financial counselor. We take all of that into account to build the best strategies for you.
Remind people the best way to connect with you.
Come see me on my website at www.jessicamedinallc.com. There's plenty of resources on there. You can join my email list where you will get a weekly email from me on personal finance for lawyers. And if you're on social media, come on over to LinkedIn. That's where I hang out. You can find me on there. I post regularly. I also have a newsletter that goes straight through LinkedIn with personal finance tips. And I love starting conversations. So please come find me over there.
Always a pleasure to talk to you, Jessica.
Thanks, Nancy.
Jessica Medina is a former lawyer turned accredited financial counselor, helping lawyers finance their dream lives. Please like and subscribe.
Thanks for listening. If you liked this episode, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe to our channel for more amazing videos like this one.